Deepgram Studios, California, and other remote locations, this is the Late Nighttime Show with your host, Jose Francisco!
Oh, please. Thank you. Thank you so much. Oh, wow. It really is an honor to be here. Thank you. Are you guys ready for a great show tonight? Amazing. All right, so let's get started. In recent AI news, Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, stated that the release of GPT-4 might not be until next year. Yeah. Reporters reached out to ChatGPT for a comment, but all it said was, "Sorry, my servers are too busy right now." That'll be $20 a month. Alright, in recent olfactory news... Woo! Yeah, that's a word you don't hear too often, huh? But in recent olfactory news, researchers have developed AI that would allow them to discover brand new scents for candles, lotions, and even perfumes. Yeah. You can find their latest scent called Chanel number 01010011. You can find their latest scent in the Beyond section of your local Bed Bath & Beyond. Alright, but I gotta take the tone a little more seriously now, guys. Chuckles are over. Oh, well, not over, but let's take the tone down just a little bit. Recently, my colleagues and I have been under some fire from internet comments. Yeah, colleagues such as Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Conan Yes, we know them. Yeah, so my colleagues, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, Conan O'Brien, Seth Meyers, and Stephen Colbert, every single one of us has been under fire lately for quote-unquote not letting our guests talk. Is this true? Do these comments have merit? Well, tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna find out right here on our show. In a new segment that we like to call Talk Show Host Analysis with Deepgram.
Welcome to Deepgram's coding studio, ladies and gentlemen. So today, we are going to take my colleagues' most popular videos on YouTube. Then we are going to download them with a little bit of code, and upon downloading them, we are going to strip them of their audio and finally use Deepgram's artificially intelligent transcription API in order to analyze the number of words that the host says versus the number of words that the guest says. We're going to do this for all of my colleagues, and we're going to do this for 8 videos each, one-on-one interviews. So let's get started. The first thing we're going to do is download a bunch of videos. And the way we do that is by importing this library called YouTube_DL, or YouTube Downloads for long. Next, we're going to grab some videos to download. What videos, you ask? Well, let me just copy and paste this list of a bunch of Conan O'Brien's one-on-one interviews from his show. By the way, Conan, I'm a big fan. See, Conan, the crowd loves you too. In true software engineering fashion, we're going to reuse some old code. And fun fact, the old code came mostly from Stack Overflow. Namely, we're going to use these parameters here to pass into the YouTube downloader. We can black box them for now, but long story short, we're making sure that we're downloading the best quality audio possible in the format of an MP3. And those MP3s are going to be loaded into a bunch of files whose titles correspond to the titles of the videos. And finally, we're just gonna call the YouTube downloader itself with this function called down here. And voila, we've got it. The next file is the fun part. We'll actually start to use AI in our code. But don't worry, it's not too intimidating. We'll get it done in a jiffy. Ready? Let's go. First things first, our imports. From the Deepgram library, we're going to import a Deepgram model. Then we're going to import OS so all our files can see each other. Now we're going to import JSON so that our data is structured nicely. And finally, async IO so that we can parallelize. Now, copy paste your API key so that you can instantiate a model that's unique to you. And just like we decided the parameters for the YouTube downloader, we're going to decide parameters for our AI model as well. For the sake of our segment today, let me describe what parameters I chose and why. You'll notice that diarize at the very first one is set to true because we want to distinguish between different speakers of our transcript. Second, punctuate, paragraphs, and numerals are all true because we want our transcription to have 1, good punctuation, 2, to be separated into the correct paragraphs as people speak, and finally 3, to write numbers instead of spell the words of the numbers out. 4 instead of 4. Now comes the best part. We actually get to write the function that includes the AI calls inside of it. First, let's find where our videos are located inside our file system using OS. Again, this is a file path specified by you, so your path goes here as a parameter. And now for every single video in your videos folder, you're going to transcribe every single one. Now, how do you transcribe it? Well, easy. Copy and paste. That sounds like a joke, but I'm not really kidding. If you go to the Deepgram software development kit, or the Deepgram SDK, you'll find code that you can copy and paste and immediately be able to transcribe whatever you want. Just make sure to change the file paths and variable names where appropriate. And at the end, you should have something like this. The file paths here are named Conan because we're analyzing Conan O'Brien's videos. The file type here is MP3 instead of the default WAV because that's what we got from the YouTube downloader. And finally, instead of just printing out the JSON, we dump it into a file that we specify. And that's it. Once we run this code, we'll have one ready to analyze parsable JSON for every Conan O'Brien video we downloaded. Then it's wash, rinse, repeat for all the other hosts, and we're set. Up next is the data analysis portion of our project. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back after this commercial break. Yeah, I'm just messing with you. We don't need a commercial break, we just have to wait for our audios to be transcribed. Luckily for us, it takes less time to transcribe our audios of around 40 videos than it does for a single TV commercial break. Look, it literally took seconds. Now, let's analyze. What you're seeing on screen are the JSONs that I produced. As I mentioned before, each file's name corresponds to the title of the interview we transcribed. And within this JSON, you can also see the field which contains a transcription, highlighted now. There's just one problem. JSONs aren't human readable. What we'll have to do now is parse this JSON into a human readable file. That'll take 3 steps. Step 1, diarize the transcript, meaning distinguish between the speakers. We want to know which words belong to the speakers and which words belong to the guest. No AI is needed here, just some classic leak code like problem solving. Parse the JSON and you'll end up with a transcript like the one on screen right now. On the left is the before shot with the dense JSON, on the right is the after shot with its well diarized speaker separated text. Step 2, count the number of words that Conan spoke, and count the number of words the guest spoke. Step 3, using those numbers, calculate the percentage of words the host spoke. For step 3, we'll use this formula. And once we use this formula, we'll finally have the percentages of host words versus guest words, and we can figure out who owns the most words per interview overall. And by the way, a link to all this code and the results will be in the description below. And speaking of results, check out this chart right here. Long story short, everyone speaks around 50% or less. And to go into greater detail, check out these bar graphs on screen right now. You can see the split between the percentage of words that each host spoke and the percentage of words that each guest spoke. Long story short, they're about even. Again, a blog with all of these bar graphs and statistics is linked in the description below. But for right now, I think it's time that we head back to the studio and get on with our show. Woo!
So, as we can see, all of my colleagues speak around the same amount as their guests on average. The only exceptions being bits, bits like Dwayne Johnson eating candy for the first time since 1989.
This is the beginning of a fun night. This is more familiar.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's end the night with some fun statistics, shall we? So Bill Skarsgård actually spoke 68% of the words in both of his interviews with Conan O'Brien and Jimmy Kimmel.
Get in there. Can we see that? Do you mind, just for that camera right there?
Number three.
Yeah, there we go.
Meanwhile, Jennifer Lawrence, we love her too, yes. Meanwhile, Jennifer Lawrence spoke around 32.5% of the words in her interview with Jimmy Fallon, but around 75% in her interview with Seth Meyers. This might be due to the fact that she has a crush on Seth Meyers, as we can see in this clip right here.
Thank God. I talked to the wardrobe lady about it, and I was like, I think I'm gonna ask Seth Meyers out. I'm gonna give him my number. And she was like, honey, he's engaged.
Yeah, I'm guilty of speaking way too much in front of people I have crushes on too. Meanwhile, Michelle Obama and Barack Obama were both guests on videos that we analyzed. Yeah. Michelle Obama spoke around 58.2% of the words in her interview with Stephen Colbert. Meanwhile, Barack Obama only spoke a little over 30% of the words in his interview.
Took my tie. This is a true story. I loosened my tie, and I looked at you, and you had your short sleeve shirt and khakis on. And I go, hello, Mr. President, sir. And you go, didn't you get the memo? It's a barbecue.
Thank you so much for a great show tonight, folks. You have been a lovely audience. We hope to see you guys again soon. Thank you so much. I'm Jose Francisco. Have a great night.